Hello, and welcome back to another YouTube video. And today, I'm going to be telling you guys all of SmallishBeans' origins. So, let's get into the video. Okay guys, so, first of all, I'm pretty sure SmallishBeans was the first one to die in all of AfterLife SMP. So, I'm going to give you a little rundown about all of his origins, just so you guys know. Okay, so, his first origin was the Blazeborn. Basically, a Blazeborn is just, he likes the nether a lot, he's immune to lava, basically, and he can't go in water, he's just, he just loves the heat, whatever. He even called himself the hottest man on the server. So, this origin lasted the longest for a total of 4.5 episodes, and yeah, so he made a whole cool base, whatever, that lasted a while. But then his death came down to a jungle skeleton. The jungle skeleton is a mob in the nether, and he was killed by the jungle skeleton in episode 4 of AfterLife SMP. Now his second origin was the giant. It's basically, as it says, he's 2 blocks tall, and he gave himself a nice Shrek skin, and yeah, it was pretty easy to tell he was a giant. He had a little bit more hearts, and he didn't have too many superpowers, I guess, but yeah, so that's about the giant origin. But in the nether, he was just, at the beginning of one of his episodes, he was talking about one of his projects, and then, as he was running through the nether, there was a hole in his nether tunnel, which led to his demise, falling to death. So, yeah, that's a pretty common one you're about to see here. And yeah, I guess he fell to his death a lot in these. But anyway, so his next origin was the Iceland. So, the Iceland is basically, well, it didn't actually last too long. The Iceland is a he's very tiny, and he can climb walls. He does not do very well in hot biomes, exactly the opposite of the Blazeborn. And he has a bunch of boosts and buffs from the cold biomes and stuff, like snow biomes, whatever. He's meant to last in those cold biomes. And this one did not last too long, this origin. But yeah, so he died because he tried to swim in lava. He was going near his lava farm, and then he fell into one of his cauldrons, and eventually he met his demise in there. And he also had a little bit less heart, so it took him no time at all to die. The Wyvern. The Wyverian, I don't know how to pronounce it, I'll put it up on the screen, but it's basically a dragon. He had this really cool ability where he could jump really high. He was poisonous, so he could spit like poison, basically. And yeah, it was a really good one. I think he could fly too. Yeah, honestly, it was extremely good. And yeah, so that was a really good origin. It lasted for about 2.5 episodes, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so that's basically that origin. And he died because he was actually building his base, and he was trying to, furnish the inside, and he kind of fell from a high place, which is kind of funny for him being a dragon, who flies. So yeah, it was pretty funny. But yes, he fell from a high place, and he became a Thunderborn. So he called himself Thor, basically, so he was able to harness the power of lightning and all that other type of stuff. So it was pretty good. So yeah, that was definitely one of his good origins, and he made this pretty cool castle type thing, but honestly it did not last that long. So he actually fell from a high place again. Yes, I know. And he fell from a high place, and then he was going to try a water bucket, and as you can probably predict, he did not emoji correctly. So yeah, he did not complete the emoji, and then he fell to his death again, and he became a Lepus, I think, or a Lepus, I don't know. Whatever. It's basically a bunny boy. That's what he called himself. So he gets the stats of a bunny. He can jump around. He can only eat carrots, as you can imagine. So yeah, that was a pretty honest. It wasn't the best one, but I mean, he could jump around and have some good speed. So yeah, that was the bunny one. It definitely didn't last too long. I think it might have lasted an episode and a half maybe. But how he died, he actually was in the end, and he was just jumping around, kind of spaced out. Then he just jumped to try to get to another end island, but then he was a little bit short, and he did not make it yet. So yeah, that's how he died. He fell in the end, and then he became a fairyborn. So the fairyborn lasted about maybe 30 seconds. So he basically he could fly, he was very tiny, whatever, all the things a fairy can do. And then there was a drowned right at spawn, and he used a trident and it impaled him to death. And since he only had 4 hearts, it was pretty quick for him to die. So yeah, that was his Fairyborn, and it lasted about 30 seconds. And the Forestborn. So he really liked the trees, and that led to him like having a very green skin, and he was basically like the protectors of the trees. So it was him and another person on the server. So since he liked all these trees, he decided to make a tree base. And this did not last that long. It lasted about an episode and like 1/2 or whatever. So yeah, it didn't last that long. But eventually the Forestborn died because Jimmy, another person on the server, aka Celerity, he messaged everyone on the server to come and battle him just because his skin was a Kung Fu Panda. That was his origin. Whatever. And as you can tell, SmallishBeans died just because he went into the duel with Jimmy, and Jimmy ultimately won. So yeah, that was the Forestborn, pretty quick. And then the Gravitol. The Gravitol is basically an alien. So SmallishBeans, he became an alien, and this last episode that came out today, and he went through 3 origins in this one episode. The Forestborn, the Gravitol, and another one. But the Gravitol is the second to last origin, and as you probably can tell, he fell out of the world again. But, so, the Gravitol is basically, he can propel himself forward using gravity, he can use the force basically, he can jump pretty high, he can go fast, whatever. It's a pretty good one, except he fell out of the end again because he was just mining, and that he went too low, and he fell out of the end. So yeah, that's how he died, and now we get to his last origin, the half-robot. And this half-robot, so basically gives him all the things like a robot, as you can imagine, but he didn't fall out of the world like all the last ones, but he died to lava, just like I basically just told you all 10 of his origins. So yes, that is all his origins. He was the first person to die on AfterLife SMP, I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, you guys can tell me. But yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to like it. And without further ado, I think I'm going to wrap up the episode.